Welcome to the DrNursePaul Show, hosted by Aspire RN and Dr. Paul. You are watching the USA Nurse Series. DrNursePaul is an NCLEX expert, having trained and mentored thousands of international nurses past the NCLEX RN for over a decade. He graduated with a Doctor of Nursing Practice in Texas Christian University. He is a registered nurse, an advanced practice registered nurse, and a certified family nurse practitioner. He also has completed a certificate for nurse educator postgraduate course. Aside from teaching, he has extensive clinical experience in emergency and family medicine. He has over 15 years of combined clinical and academic healthcare experience. DrNursePaul is an immigrant from the Philippines. He is currently based in Houston, Texas, where he operates his business, DrNursePaul, and Aspire RN NCLEX Prep. He loves to share his life story of how he overcame his challenges to reach his dreams. He is passionate in helping nurses realize the American dream. So without further ado, let's all welcome DrNursePaul.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the DrNursePaul Show, and this is one of our last episodes for the Nurses Month. And today's episode is entitled The American Dream Story, and I have with me today, they're in the backstage right now, they're going to join us in a bit. I have with me today two very special guests who will talk to us about their American dream. Very excited to host this show because, as you guys all know, this show was created, the USA Nurse Series, to provide free information and to help our IENs who are migrating to the USA to have, support and of course, information that, during our time we didn't have this, but now it's so easy to create live shows or virtual shows where we can bring in guests, and these guests are coming in for free. I'm not paying them, but they're devoting their time for the cause of providing information, providing free education to our nurses, so it can make their lives a little bit better when they move here. Because migrating is not an easy task. It's really you're packing all your stuff and move into a new place, new country, new culture, new workplace, right? So that's what we're doing here in USA Nurse Series. And today, of course, we've all heard about the American dream. We've all heard different versions of the American dream. And today we're going to look at it in the lens of an immigrant nurse. And these are nurses that are really very close to me. I've worked with them side by side, and I've seen their how they advocate for nurses and how active they are in the community. Very important for me to bring in people that can give us, positive and inspiring stories. And I'm so excited to host that today. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, James. Oh my God, James, good morning. Welcome to the United States, James. James is one of our students in Aspire RN. He just moved here in Temple, Texas. He was here in Houston the other day, but I was busy and he was also busy, so we didn't get to hang out. But welcome, James, to the United States. And he is under Kinetics USA scholarship program, and he passed the NCLEX sometime early last year, if I'm not mistaken. Good morning, Emerson. Where everybody coming from today? All right, so tell me where you guys are coming from. And of course, for today, Nurses Month is not over. We are going to give out 2 free NCLEX courses today. We've given out a lot of free NCLEX courses over the span of a couple of weeks for the Nurses Month. We've been doing 2 shows a week now for the Nurses Month, of course. And then I'm finally taking a break next month because I wasn't able to travel around during the Nurses Month. But I'm happy to serve the community. And we've given a lot of NCLEX courses in the past couple of weeks. Today, we're going to give out 2 more free NCLEX course from Aspire RN. In order to win today's free NCLEX course raffle, you have to follow the mechanics which we are going to flash at the bottom of your screen right now. All right, there we go. I totally forgot the mechanics. I've been doing this every week, but I was panicking 1 minute before the show went on. I was like, guys, what's the mechanics? So anyway, I was looking for my cue. Anyway, here it is. So the first mechanic is just like and follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN, and share this live on your page publicly. You have to share it publicly on your pages right now. We're doing this by Facebook. That's where we have the most viewers today. So if you are watching from my YouTube channel or from other channels linked in, please join us in Facebook right now. Hop on in Facebook and follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN. Like and share Dr. Paul Aspire RN. Share this live on your page publicly so we can verify that you've actually shared it. Sometimes when you share it, it's private, so we cannot see it. And once you're done, comment hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul. The comment section, we're monitoring it right now. We're going to use an app that's called Comment Picker, and the comment picker will automate the raffle for us. So we're going to open the raffle for about the next 13 minutes. Rose is one of our winners last week after following Dr. Nurse Paul's show for the last 9 months. Thank you, Rose, for joining us from Ghana. She's one of our avid viewers. Rubayet is joining us from Bangladesh. There you go. Last virtual show that I did last Wednesday, we've completed 6 continents. So let's see if we can cover all 6 continents today. Mel is joining us from England, UK. I'll be in UK in 10 days. And Emerson is in Galveston. Good morning, sir. It's about an hour away from me. Anna, I invited Anna today, but she's working. Good morning. And Ellen is joining us from Jeddah. Therese is joining us from the Philippines. Gian is right here. Sir Gian, you can join us. Laura Lee's right here. Happy 3rd anniversary. Doc and Aspire RN. Dennis is watching us from UAE. There you go again, guys. In order to win our raffle for today, you got to like and follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN. Share this on your pages publicly and comment hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul. Karen is watching us from Canada. Good morning. I'm streaming live from the United States, from Houston particularly. All right, guys. Now, I am proud to present to you guys our speakers for today. We're going to start with the ladies first, as they say. All right. Our first speaker, probably a lot of you guys know her, Kaye. Kaye Mendoza is also known as the traveling nurse hacker in social media. She's a passionate and experienced nurse who migrated to the USA 18 years ago. With the motto of work smart, not hard, she advocates for Nursing 2.0, emphasizing that nursing is not a job, but something that feeds her soul. Kaye has spent 17 years working as a contractual peri-operative L&D and PACU nurse, constantly seeking new opportunities to learn and grow. In addition to her nursing career, Kaye is an advocate for financial independence and early retirement or FIRE movement. She works as a 1099 nurse to boost her finances and create a tax-efficient strategy. With her expertise in picking the right employer based on values matching, understanding the healthcare workforce market, and negotiation skills, she has managed more than 40 agency profiles and secured over 30 contracts in her career. Kaye's influence extends beyond her professional endeavors. She administers a social media group with over 193,000 members, mentoring thousands of travel nurses and internationally educated nurses. As an expert in recruitment, staffing, and retention strategies, she empowers nurses to take charge of their careers and achieve their personal and financial goals through anti-burnt out strategies. Outside of nursing, Kaye embraces her love for travel, photography, and mixology. She is a master negotiator and a social media influencer, using her platform to make a positive impact on people's lives. Through her consultancy, she guides nurses on how to prioritize their personal career and financial goals using the value triangle approach. For Kaye Mendoza, life is too short not to enjoy it fully and leave a lasting positive impact on others. Let's all welcome on the live stage Miss Kaye, the travel nurse hacker. Hey, good morning, Kaye. I think you're muted. We can't hear you. All right. I don't think we can hear you, Kaye. Or maybe hold on. You know what? Maybe it's actually my speaker. I think there you go. Can you can you hear me? Uh, I'm not sure if it's my speaker. 1 second. Maybe it's my speaker. Uh, Let me ask our moderators if they can hear me. Uh, no audio for K. All right.
There. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
there you go. Sorry.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Thank you for your nice intro. Thanks, Dr. Nurse Paul and Chat GPT. Very good intro.
I was like, K, where's your bio? She's like, just pick it off of my or get it from my LinkedIn. And I have 1 more minute in the countdown. I was like, oh my god, I'm panicking. How can I construct something? So I copied her whole thing and put it in Chat GPT, copied, pasted it, and said, "Okay, is this okay?" And we're about to go live. So I didn't even. But I changed a couple of things. I had to edit on
Yeah.
the on the fly. This is on the spot.
Hey, you know what? It works, right? That's
Right. That's
the
pretty
magic of
good. That's pretty good.
magic
It
of
gave me the
technology.
right. It gave me prompt in like 5 seconds. Thank you, Chat GPT, for creating our speaker's bio for today. This is how me and Kay work. We're so spontaneous. We get things
Yeah,
done. But if Chat GPT can take some things off of our hands, we'd do it. Right.
exactly. Use the technology to make your, work
Right. To
smart,
your
not hard.
advantage.
There you go.
Exactly. There you
That's
go. Right. And Kay's like, just get it off of my LinkedIn. I was like, oh my God, we have 1 minute on the countdown. It's all right. But I think we
yeah.
all woke up late, Kate.
Yeah,
But
no, thank you so much for that intro. I don't know if I can live to up to the
it's a
expectation,
pretty
but
good intro.
but yeah, those are accurate. Those are not, those are not sugar
Right,
coated
right,
things.
right. That's
So,
true.
all right, thank you so much for that, and
And I mean,
welcome and morning to everyone. Good evening.
all right, where are you coming from today, Kay?
I'm coming up from my bed, exactly where my bed is. But
Maryland.
yeah, so currently I'm in Maryland.
Right.
I picked up a recent contract with Johns Hopkins Bayview,
Nice.
and now I'm more on advocating for international nurses coming to the United States, just to help them out. And then later I'm gonna come back after the summer. So I'm taking the entire summer off and then come back on September.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty good. So much flexibility there. Flexibility is king.
Definitely. Your time with your family is very, very important. Time
Exactly.
with your
We're talking
friends.
about
And
yesterday.
the most important thing, time for yourself.
That's true. Personal self
Okay.
care. I
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
that from my therapy. And it's also the
yeah,
National Mental
yeah,
Health Awareness Month. So, very important to also take care
yeah,
of yourselves, nurses, because at the end of the day, this is it's a service industry. We provide care to people using our
yeah,
energy, using our physical energy, emotional energy. So, we want to make sure that we're also not depleted, right? Okay, so personal self
sure.
care very important,
Definitely.
right? And you talked about burnt out in that intro, and that intro, by the way, was just prompted to Chat GPT. Chat GPT will not create anything out of nothing, right? It's a large language model. We had to feed it data for it to create something. So that was all K. That was
Yeah.
all of those information are in her LinkedIn. So follow her in LinkedIn and in Facebook. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
And
Thank
and our next guest speaker today, I'm so excited to host this guy. So I work with him now with our organization, Siena, Society of International Educated Nurses in Northern America, and he's a nurse leader. An immigrant nurse here in USA. So much to share. Is very active in social media as well. Dr. Arnold Tariga is an internationally educated nurse with more than 15 years of experience in clinical and educational settings in the Philippines, UAE, and recently in the United States. He holds a PhD in developmental education two master's degrees in nursing, and is certified in healthcare quality nursing education and nursing professional development. Arnold has presented at international conferences, published in peer reviewed journals, and has been recognized as the Healthcare Professional of the Year 2019 in UAE and awarded with Best Capstone at Harvard Medical School. Currently, he is the Director of Clinical Education and Development at Insight Global Health, leading the international transition to practice program for nurses migrating to the United States. He also serves as one of the board of directors for the Society of Internationally Educated Nurses in North America. Let's all welcome to the live stage Dr. A, my good friend Arnold.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nurse Paul. Good morning, everyone. Good evening for those who are in the Philippines. Good morning, Kaye.
Good morning, Arnold.
It's so nice to actually connect with you. I was just talking to Paul that I haven't really connected with you, but it's so nice to have this platform to connect with you.
Right.
Definitely, we're like friends on all social media. I just follow.
I
Exactly.
was I was
This is
saying
our,
that in
our
my past virtual show that we're all friends in like virtual world, but a lot of us haven't really met in person. And like the first time I met Anna and Kay was like a month ago. It was crazy because I only see them in FaceTime or by phone. But I mean, power of technology, which is good.
Exactly. I think that's the amazing part of technology, and I think it has been highlighted
yeah.
during the COVID pandemic that things can be
True.
done. We can be connected through the power of technology. So yeah,
Right, like life not must not stop because we're all locked down in our houses, right? We can still continue talking to each other, connecting with each other, and we can still impact our community even as the world is locked down.
true, true.
And Dr. A, where are you coming from today?
Like, hey, I'm coming from my badge in Boston. It's a beautiful morning here in Boston. So
Right. It's a Memorial Weekend. But thank you guys for joining the show today. I'm so excited to collaborate with both of you. And Dr. A, we've planned this about 3, 4 weeks ago, but I really didn't finalize everything till the last couple of days. But thank you for jumping in, Dr. A and Kay.
They're my pleasure, Paul.
yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to be here. And I think I just would like to say thank you, Dr. Nurse Paul, for having this platform. I think this is very helpful for everyone, not just for nurses who are outside the US, but even for nurses who are here who are new like me. Because I'm definitely gonna be learning from you and from Kay,
Right,
as
right.
traverse the world here in the US.
Okay, has a lot of experience.
Especially in Boston.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there we go. You actually work
Really,
there.
really into that.
That's where I got my mixology
I
certificate.
know.
In Harvard, mixology.
We have to try this mixology thing. It's so interesting. All right. And Antar is watching us from Bangladesh. Thank you, Antar, for following and for watching us today. Morin is watching us from Saudi. Travel Nurse Hacker says, thanks to Chat GPT. Right. All right. And Serling is saying hi, Dr. A.
Oh, hi, Serlene.
Right. Okay. All right. So, guys, we're going to go straight to our topic for today. I think let's just give an overview of what we all think about the American Dream story. Let's start with Kay, ladies first. I mean,
Okay.
what is American Dream for you? When we hear the word American Dream, what is your personal definition of it?
It was funny because when I went to nursing school in the Philippines, I am the only one who probably did not have an American dream.
It's not
Everybody was
actually in a
jumping.
chair.
Yeah, everybody had their like going to the United States to become a nurse. I landed in nursing program because I put the wrong nursing code. I mean, put the wrong college code in application. So I was aiming to become a doctor, a pediatrician in University of Santo Tomas, but my course code came back as nursing instead of biology. So I said, you know what, let's deal with it. And the second year of my program, everybody's like, oh, there's so many jobs in the United States. Everybody's running to the United States. So I said, you know what? Okay, my American dream is being able to be free and do whatever I want. So I told my mom, if ever I get to the United States and you don't hear from me for 2 years, I pursued my tennis career. So that was my American dream, to be able to reach all my dreams in life, to be able to achieve that in a very realistic way, because there was no way for me to become, an very very famous, tennis player during back that time, because sports not is not something that we prioritize as students back then. So for me, that was my American dream, to be able to be who I want to be, and do the things that I love doing. So and it was feasible financially, because in the Philippines as a nurse, it was just not feasible for me to buy whatever I want, to do whatever I want, because of the
Right.
financial constraints of a nurse. So that was my financial, I mean, sorry, my American dream is not only financial, but really to look beyond what I can do after achieving that financial success.
Perfectly said. Thank you, Kay. How about our
Yeah.
Dr. A?
No, I think Kay has said everything in terms of but so yeah, I think I'm gonna piggyback on Kay's definition of my American dream. And as much as this is my American dream, I also see American dream as having the opportunity to pursue whatever you want in life, irrelevant of your background, your educational background, your nationality. And I think I'm gonna talk more about that as to how I transitioned into my American dream, coming from a different dream before. But like Kay before, well, I did not. Basically, the American dream was founded by my mom's dream for me to go to the. I think most of the Filipinos will say that, yeah, like majority of us have been encouraged by our parents or family members to go to the U.S. When I was in high school, I think one of the most, I would say, famous degrees that were told to us was nursing, because they said that it's your one-way ticket to having a better life. And um, I initially thought of it and did not necessarily like it, because I hate needles. That's one thing. And I hate the sight of blood. But then eventually, when I started nursing, I felt like, this is a nice profession, being able to talk to people, help people and who are in need, especially if they have health problems and stuff like that. And yeah, eventually, while I was studying nursing, I sort of developed the American dream, just because I also saw how challenging it was in the Philippines in terms of career growth as a nurse. So I was like, I think America will be a good place for me to grow personally and professionally. So yeah, from that dream, a lot of things has happened before I eventually moved to the US. And I'm actually, unlike Kay, who has been here for I think 18 years, Kay, right? And I think for you,
Yeah.
Dr. Paul, you have been here for
Six.
more than six
Yep,
years.
yep, yep. Mhm.
Yeah, so I have just been here for a year and 1 month. So I'm 1 year and 1 month old here in the US.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Anniversary.
Yeah, the American dream is real. Yeah.
Right. And 1 year, but have already moved so much. Dr. A.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Love it.
Yay.
Love it, the immigrant energy. So this is what I like about our community, because we come in here and we get the ball rolling. Like, hey, we're not here to play games. We know what we want. So for me, I was gonna say what Dr. A said it already. My American dream started with my mom's dream. So the real story was I've always been good with debates and all that. So my mom and dad decided when I was high school, in the Philippines, in that part of the world, in Asia, guys, parents decide for you because they finance you for everything. You live with your parents until you're financially stable. Doesn't matter if you're 40, you're gonna live with your parents until you're financially stable. In the
Yeah.
US, they kick you out of the house at 18. You gotta work. Like, right. But my mom and dad said, you know what, you're gonna be a really good lawyer. So let's put you in either CPA school or political science school, and you be a lawyer. So that's what I always said during our career whatever talks in high school, right? And then suddenly our neighbor, family friend, mom's amiga, like very close friend, right? Also in Spanish, um, is about to fly to the US. Suddenly she's a late 30, early 40, something year old woman that's about to fly to the US to bring her family. And my mom said, you're leaving. And she's like, yeah, I'm a nurse and I passed my NCLEX, so I'm going to fly to the US. This was like the year 2003 or something. And she said, why don't you make Paul a nurse instead? So suddenly the plan overnight changed into Paul from being a lawyer to Paul being a nurse. And let me tell you this, during high school, I didn't like the health course because my teacher in health course would, the school nurse would teach us how to check blood pressure, how to do CPR. I was like, oh my God, I'm not even going to do this. You know, I want to be a lawyer. Like, I want to debate. I want to fight for someone, something like that. Cut it short. I was put in nursing school. And then I suddenly started loving it because I'm a person of science. I really love science. So medical science really interests me, so many things. But honestly, I fully embraced that dream as I grow into the nursing career. After I finished my NCLEX back in 2008, I applied for US and I thought that was it. But it was growing inside me all these years. I know that in the Philippines, I peaked at around 25 or 26 years old, and I felt at 29, I was already managing a business at this point, earning pretty good money, pretty decent money for my family and for myself. That I've already peaked in the Philippines, that my opportunities end at the edge of the islands of the Philippines, and there's nothing more left for me because I felt like at 29, I've reached what people would want to reach at 40 to 60, you know. And I thought I was going to retire early, but I was like, you know what? I'm driven. I'm young. I have so much energy. Let's go to the US and find something else to do. So, American Dream for me is all about opportunities, and endless opportunity for growth personally and career wise. So, when I came over here, I have personal growth, I have personal growth plans, I have professional growth plans. And it's been nonstop. I remember when I was anxious about moving here, one of my friends told me, and I will never forget this. She said, you can be a big fish in a small pond, or you can be a big fish in a big pond. You make the choice. So I was like, okay, let me pack my bags and go to the US. And that was the American dream story for me. That's where it all started. But this is what I love about community, because every time I hear that, I really, admire the passion and dedication that immigrants bring into the country. We're so diverse, so much experience, different backgrounds, but overall, the country is benefiting from it. We're benefiting from the country, but they're also benefiting from the talents, and how smart immigrants are, how hardworking the immigrants are. Because we've lived it. We've lived it in that side of the world where we work so much but we don't earn that much. But
Agree.
here, I've heard Kay talking about financial stability, right? Being able to do what you want to do because you've worked hard for it and now you have the finances to do it, right? So before, to even put this show is a luxury for me, because I would have normally been in the hospital trying to work to get more money, right?
Yeah.
Now we can sit on a show for an hour. So that's luxury because we don't need to work, right? We're still okay, something like that. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yes, Miss
Yeah.
K.
Yeah, it's a Memorial Weekend. It's double the pay, right?
Right.
Really? Oh my God.
7.5 in Texas.
You just work with double pay. Wow.
Yeah, or they're like,
Yeah.
who wants to come in? $200 bonus or $500 bonus. Going once, going twice.
Exactly, right?
All right. But yep, and all right. Let's talk to Dr. A first, since he's the baby American in that sense. But tell us your background of how you came to the USA, Dr. A.
Okay, so background in terms of coming to the US. So um if I have to be honest, like there was a point where my American dream and my plan to go to the US faded. And it was because I was so comfortable living and working in the United Arab Emirates. So in 2013, I moved to the UAE in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, because it was very difficult in the Philippines, financially, for a nurse. And I when I started my career in the UAE, it was okay. There were opportunities, but I would say not as much as what we have here in the United States. And again, I'm speaking from my experience, and I'm not trying to badmouth or something. The different cultures and settings in the other parts of the world, but what I experienced was, in the Middle East, there is this sort of I'm not. I would not want to say that it's racism, but maybe it's how it is set up in terms of um, the workplace culture, that if you're non-Western trained, opportunities are so slim for you. So, and it happened to me, as a professional, I really would want to grow in my profession, and I worked so hard, but then opportunities were so slim. I eventually got there, but it took years. But then I realized that if it's difficult to grow in here, is there another place that I will be given the opportunity to grow, not being looked at as a Filipino, not being looked at as an Asian without Western training, because I have training and I can say that I'm capable of doing what I was doing. And I realized, having spoken to my friends who have moved to the United States, they said that, if you come to the US, you will be given a lot of opportunities because, you had your postgrads, you have certifications. They
Mhm.
don't usually look at your nationality, but as long as you can do the job, and if you back it up with your experience and your qualifications, you'll
Right.
definitely have a lot of opportunities. So, to cut the story short, in 2018, I was eventually motivated to like work on my NCLEX. And like it really took me like around 6 years to like move into or like work my NCLEX out, because as what I said, in the Middle East, you get paid your salary in full. There's no tax in the UAE, so like you get to enjoy everything that you work for. But then I think it was more on the professional growth that I was looking for. So worked out my NCLEX and then started my processing. And there were still a lot of things that has happened from 2018, and then 2020 came in. The pandemic happened, and I
Pandemic.
was a bit scared that my American dream will not materialize. That I will not be able to go to the US, because there were rumors that there will be retrogression and all this kind of stuff. But then I was like, okay, if I will not be able to move to the US now, I know that I will be able to move there in the future. So I'm just gonna like sit back, relax while waiting for the processing of my visa. And eventually it just came, it just came out like 2022. Oh no, 2021. December of 2021, before Christmas. It was December 23. I can still remember it. December 23, I received a notification that my visa has been approved. So I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best Christmas gifts ever. So
Yay.
Hey.
so amazing. And decided to go home for a bit. And then I flew to the US April 2022. So yeah, going, looking back at it, like I never even thought that I will be where I am right now. Because again, it was the American dream was lost at one point, but then
Right.
yeah, but then when things happen, you'll realize that I guess the lesson that I've learned with that experience is that if you're in a place that you're not growing, look for other places. There can be other opportunities that you can go to. Like as what you said, Dr. Nurse Paul, if there can be a lot of ponds, you can be the big fish in a small pond or a big fish in a big pond. So
Correct.
we are moving now to the big pond here in the US.
Correct. Yes. That's a very inspiring story, because sometimes you peak, like you literally, that's what I felt um I attended the John Maxwell seminar before. There's a law of the lead thing, so I characterize it as I felt like I've reached the lid at one point in my career, and there was no space for growth. So I said I need to be in a bigger container, because otherwise I'm gonna keep hitting the lid and I'm just gonna be stuck up there, something like that. But sometimes it's hard to move, Doctor A, right? It is
It is
very hard to pack your bags and start all over again. There's always this anxiety where
for
will it
sure.
work,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Because here I'm
yeah.
comfortable, all right. But comfort zones doesn't really make you grow, right? We always want to change things and spice up some things in our lives, in our careers, to do something more, right?
That's very
So
yeah.
thank you for making that decision, and you're bringing in so much to the table. Like the one thing that I like with US is we're not only climbing up the US stage. Once you're up there, you're also facing the global stage, being that US is also a leader in many things in healthcare, which is our industry, which is good because it exposes us to the global things. Now all of us three are involved in this global movement, global revolution about nursing, and young leaders like us are going to be the forefront in the future, you know? So thank you for bringing your experience to the table, and thank you for not stopping there. Big pond, remember. All right. How about Miss Kay? She has a lot of story to tell us.
Oh my God, which one should I start? Like background coming to the United States. As I mentioned, everything actually on my nursing career path is accidental. If you're gonna accidentally put the wrong nursing code, I said screw it up, I'll do it. And I finished my bachelor's degree, and I saw everybody was jumping into like taking their CGFNS. They're preparing to go to the United States. As a young me without really goal to be in the United States. I'm just going with my friends, what they're doing. So as soon as after graduation, passing the board, I jump into my CGFNS 2 and English exam. So I was actually more proactive than them, provided I did not really have that, push myself to go to United States, primarily because my family's background is Chinese. And we all know in the Philippines, when you're in Chinese family, the business is where you should be.
Right, right, right.
Not really in healthcare. So I'm one of those in the family that went to healthcare kind of like by accident, but I really want to become a doctor. But anyway, so my aunt was very his like she's like an angel. She picked up these Americans from NAIA, which is the international airport in Manila. And she asked this American, say, what are you guys doing here? Because she was just tasked to pick up these Americans from the airport to take them to the hotel. And then the American said, "Oh, we're here to interview nurses and to talk to them, And my aunt called me. I was coming from a 16-hour evening and night shift in the Philippines, being paid $100 a month, right? She said to me, Okay, I met somebody. That was her word. I met somebody. Bring all your documents. I'm going to introduce you to someone. So that was the word there. Introduce you to someone that I just met last night. So here I am. I have no clue who she met. I just went into a big place with more than 200 people, right? And they were on business suits, business attire. And I came here to this place with my denim pants, bright green Chuck Taylors, and a shirt. So
Love them, Clark Taylors.
I had no idea it was an interview. And, coming from 16-hour nursing shift, your brain is not there anymore. All you want to do is go home, lie down, and sleep. So they eventually introduced this hospital. I had no idea. And like everybody did, they gave me a paper to sign, and I just signed. I just want to go to bed, right? Then he said, Congratulations, welcome to this hospital in New York. And I'm like, Excuse me, did you just hire me? Because I had no idea it was a job interview. Right? When you're 21 years old, what do you know, right? Nothing.
Right.
You just wanna go with the flow. What everybody's doing, it's just like a YOLO. So eventually I said to my mom, I signed a lot of documents, but don't worry. It might take, they said, about 2 years to come to the United States. But then, because I was so proactive with my applications and exams, I was able to really do my CGFNS, my English exam. I started doing my visa screen even without employer.
Uh,
And when I got that interview, all my documents were ready. And they said, Oh, you're leaving already. And that was 8 months. After 8 months, no premium. You got your visa already. You're moving
Wow.
to New York. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm not ready, but okay. Um, so that what happened to me on my American dream. Like I was literally, not prepared, but I took the challenge of it. It said, what can go wrong? What can go worse? I'm broke already. I cannot go any further broke. Right? So technically I was in the lowest position, lowest mode of my career. And when you're in that position, when you're in the lowest of your life, you would just realize the only way to go is up.
oh, I love
So
that.
Right,
Yeah.
so I took that challenge. I said to my mom, you don't have to worry because I don't think God will give you something you cannot handle.
right.
So
Mm.
so I told my mom, she was so worried about me. Say, you're going to America, you're going to New York, you have no idea about it. I said, Mom, I do have an idea about it. I'm going to Harlem and I know about Harlem Globetrotters. So at least one I know, right? If
Right.
I get lost in New York, I'll just go look for that Madison Square Garden and say, hello, I'm here, I'm lost. So technically, it was a challenge for me. I do not have cell phone when I got to the United States. There
Ah,
was no iPhone yet. I was using the phone booth in New York City, and it was a very challenging. At the same time, it's a very adventure for me because I only introduced myself to America by watching, those videos.
Right. Right.
There was no distinct transition. What is this transition? Transition guide or training, right? There was no education materials for us to transition to the United States back then. It was 2005, so it was really like trusting your employer, trusting the people who you talk to. But majority of the people I know are not from New York City. So it was really like the jungle. If you heard that song, it's the concrete jungle. If you make it here, you make it anywhere.
Right.
So so
Love
that
it.
was my experience coming to the United States with only $200 in my pocket and a lot of ramen noodle soup in my suitcase and a lot of delata canned goods, and I tried to survive with that. It was a very great experience in my opinion because I'm young. I really didn't have the people who's depending on me. I was free to do and learn by on my own, and it was an eye opener for me that I am away from my family. This is the first time that I'm gonna be away. And our Filipino culture is so strong that we're always there for each other. And we always have that comfort zone, like Arnold mentioned, that we are in so much peace when we're in a comfort zone. But now coming to the United States, this is a whole new life
Right.
that you can be eaten alive if you don't work on your best interest to invest on your knowledge.
Right.
great.
So it was a great challenge for me. I think where I am right now is because of all the challenges I've had during when I start here. And I wouldn't change a thing. I love the way that I came here,
Right.
and and it really did open a lot of opportunities for us here in the United States to learn so many things, career wise, personal growth, and financial growth. The opportunities are endless when I saw
Right.
and I opened up my eyes and saw the nursing career path that my employer was able to show me initially, because it was a government hospital that I landed, and understanding that kind of healthcare setting and the benefits that they gave us. Wow, this is like, oh, zero health insurance. I had a child, I delivered with zero to pay. I was like, this
Right.
is so cool.
Right.
So
Right.
there was so many benefits and opportunities in the United States that I saw that I did not see from the Philippines.
Right. But then again, we're not really talking about, oh, let's not work in the Philippines. Of course,
Yeah, yeah,
we all have personal reasons why we do things,
yeah,
right? For some people, they would prefer to
yeah,
stay
yeah,
in their home countries, and that is totally fine. That is not a problem at all. But
yeah,
there are also other people who want to experience new cultures and new places, and that is totally fine as well. You gotta find, the perfect balance of where you want to be and where your happiness
yeah,
is. But
definitely.
yeah, for me, everything that happens to us is what I call character development. It's like watching the
Yeah,
movie, right? The like watching, I love Game of Thrones, and the reason why I
yeah,
love it is because the story actually delved into character development of each one. So I look at myself as like, ooh, everything that's happening to me right now, maybe it's challenging. Maybe I have to wait 10
yeah,
years to be in the US. It's a character development, right? I'm
yeah,
being prepared for something great, something like that, right? But
Agree.
like all of us have different struggles, one or another, how we saw
yeah.
us come in here versus how it actually happened. But then it happened, and now we're here to share a story, which is the best part, right? Like
It's a fun
looking
thing.
back, it's funny, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just would like to echo what Dr. Nurse Paul mentioned about, like, we're not saying that the Philippines is
Yeah,
not a great
yeah,
place to work. If I
Yeah.
have to be honest, I really enjoyed my
Mhm.
stint of nursing, working in the ICU, in the hospital that I
yeah,
worked for. I think the community of nurses in the Philippines is just so amazing. Like, I've
Mhm.
yeah,
True.
made like lifelong friends that I still call
yeah,
friends.
Mhm.
Uh, Up until now. So yeah, no, it's amazing to work in the
yeah,
Philippines. there are areas, of course, that can be improved, and I hope that it is being. I haven't been in the Philippines for 15 years. I mean, like, I go home for holidays, but I haven't worked in the Philippines for like around 15
Yeah,
years now. So I'm not so sure how it is now, in terms of
yeah,
healthcare, the nursing field. I hope it's getting better, and I've heard that there are things that are changing for the better, and it's
Right.
very reassuring. Yeah. So, but yeah, to your point, Dr. Nurse Paul, if and when you have some dreams, you want to explore, see new
yeah,
cultures, new opportunities, then it's definitely worth exploring, not just the
Yeah.
US actually, but
Right.
other places around the globe. Yeah.
Right. Somebody asked me the
yeah.
other day, what do you think? Should I try the US? You know what I said? Try the US if you
Try.
have the opportunity to do it. The worst that can
Yeah,
happen is you don't like it and you just book a flight back to where you come from. Because that's what my
yeah,
thought at the beginning. If I didn't like it, I always have the chance to go back to the Philippines. But there's no harm in trying. In fact,
Agree.
it opens up
yeah.
a whole lot of perspective with you. The reason I could have been back in the Philippines. The first 6 months, I was ready to pack my bags again. I was like, I'm gonna be back in the Philippines. But I saw the opportunity for my personal growth as well because of the diversity in the US.
Yeah.
I want to learn about cultures. I
Yeah.
travel because I want to learn history and culture of each places that I visit. But here in the US is a melting pot of culture. Like literally, you can be in the middle of New York and all countries are easily represented, or in LA or in San
Mm.
Francisco. It's just overwhelming at the beginning, but it's also fun to learn that way. So something like that.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
like right,
Always try, always try. It's never
right.
gonna hurt. And the thing that
Hmm.
you always say is, if things doesn't go well, I always have an exit plan, and
There you
at
go.
least you tried.
At least you try it. You're not gonna
Yeah,
be bugged with regrets
yeah,
20 years later. You're like, I didn't give it a
yeah.
try, right?
Sure.
Exactly.
Right. And what are the changes and adjustments you had to make in your personal or professional life to live the American dream? Kate?
So number one here is really you have to have a teachable attitude. Everywhere I
Mm,
go, I've been traveling for a long time, and I always tell them, they always ask me, "Okay, what's the best thing I should prepare for a new job into going to a new place, to transitioning to a new place?" My number one answer will always have a teachable attitude. That's all. That's the number one thing you can do, because if you have that. That you come with that, you will have to understand that you don't know everything, even though you've been working as a nurse for 20 years. Probably that new place will give you about 50% more knowledge than what you have. You will always learn into a new place, and if you feel like you know everything, there's no growth for you. There's
right.
no growth. So you have to accept that fact that you don't know everything, and you want to learn. You show them that you want to learn, and that will make your life easier everywhere you go.
Right, right.
You never tell everybody this is how we did it there. Well,
Exactly.
Exactly.
yeah, right. So you never say that. That's a one thing that I say. Zip your mouth. Acknowledge the people who are doing extra work. And not being paid more, and they're trying to mentor you and help you or precept you.
Right,
So
right,
Yeah.
that's the number one thing you will have to bring all the time: teachable attitude everywhere you go.
right. I think that's a very valuable lesson, because you have to be flexible in the sense that you
Yeah,
cannot assume that you know everything everywhere you go because there's just so many things to learn. You have to open your mind that there's new things to learn, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you have more experience with this person that's precepting you, but it doesn't mean you cannot glean any lesson from this person at all, right?
yeah,
So very important
yeah,
to have that humility to
yeah,
say, I'm new here in this place. I'm here to learn and absorb as much as I
yeah.
can, as long as you're also able to filter the correct learning and not
Yes,
that,
exactly.
that comes with maturity. But yes, teachable attitude. I need to write that down too to always remind me. Right, Dr. A.
No, I love what Kay mentioned about having a teachable attitude, and it
Mhm.
relates to being an open-minded individual. Trying to
Right,
absorb what information you are being given. And I think what I would like to add as well will be assertiveness, especially if you come from the Philippines directly to the United States. So one thing that I would say is that having lived abroad for 9 years before moving to the United States has really helped me a lot in terms of how to deal with people, because we are so different culturally. I mean, like in the Philippines, we have our own culture, and then when you go to
Right.
a place in the Middle East, they have a different culture. There's a different culture here in the U.S. And one thing that I've struggled, especially for us who wants to grow in our career and stuff like that, sometimes it's so difficult to speak up and be assertive in a nice way. Because sometimes,
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
Right.
assertiveness can also be misconstrued as being offensive or something like that. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, if there's one of the older Filipino guys that I've met here, who became our kuya, because we sort of have a circle now here in Boston.
Right.
Uh, what he told me was that here in the United States, people are not mind reader. Okay, so but everyone is so willing to help. So
Right.
if you want something, if you need to know something, let us know, and we will be happy to help you, or we will be happy to find other people that can help you.
Right. Right.
Because yeah, we cannot just help you with because sometimes they will say that in the US people are just on their own, they're not helping. It was very different actually with my experience, because
Right. Right.
I
That's
really
true.
proud my community here. Like everyone was so helpful, and um,
Mm-hmm.
I would presume that it will be the same experience for you. Like when I met this Filipino community here, like everyone was just like, "Oh, we have this at home. Do you need this? Like we will bring it
Right.
home." When I was new here, like everyone was picking me up from my hotel, and like they drove me around. Showed me the Boston area. I was like, "Oh my god, like this is amazing." I never even experienced that in the Middle East when I was new
Mhm.
there, and there's a big Filipino community there, but here in the US, like everyone was just so helpful. But yeah, when you need something, they just be assertive, let them know that this is what you want. The same goes when you're working in the hospitals. If you do not know, don't pretend that you know.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, because one thing that I've realized here as well is sometimes because you come here as a registered nurse, they will expect that you have that certain skill set already, that you have that experience because you are an RN. But then because of the differences, for example, in the healthcare setting that you've worked with before, like you might not have experience using this type of equipment,
Right.
doing this type of procedure. Um, Tell them that you do not know the procedure, you do not know how to use it, and then ask them to teach you, and they will be very happy to teach you. So yeah, assertiveness is very important, both personally and professionally.
Right. I think that's very important. You have to bring that. You have to carry that attitude both in your personal and professional life. You're being assertive, assertive in a good way. Some people like might misconstrue it as you're overstepping, or you're too energetic. But honestly, assertiveness is being able to ability to find your limitations, your weaknesses as well, and being upfront with it to not raise expectations. And Arnold is right about that because, like with me, when I moved to the ER the first time, the skills I'm totally fine. Spiking an IV bag, that's totally fine. Like putting an IV in, that's totally fine. Pushing an IV meds, that's totally fine. Triaging patients, like I know the questions to ask. But
Triage nurse too.
right, right,
You triage nurse too, right?
right. But I mean, in the Philippines, you do that a lot. But but to give me a level one infuser on my first week, I'm like, what is that? Right, like the thing that we use for master infusion protocols, or show me a bear hugger. Like I don't even know. I mean, I know it probably heats up someone, but I don't know how to connect those things. You're like scared to make a mistake. What if this short circuits or like electrocute the patient, something like that. So be assertive, ask questions, tell them you are not familiar with this equipment or this is something you haven't done before, or tell them about your strengths as well. But that's the best way to like integrate yourself into the community. Don't be scared to ask questions. Don't be scared to tell them I'm a new migrant. So when I moved here to the Philippines, I'm sorry, to Texas, and I was talking like this because I already practiced, of course, like prior to coming over here, and they're like, where'd you grew up? What neighborhood? I was like, oh, I grew up in Manila. They're like, you did not grow up in Manila. You were born here. I was like, no, no, I just came here like literally a month ago. And they're like, no, you did not. Because they're like, why don't you have the Filipino accent? Like, what do you mean? I can talk with my Filipino accent. You want me to talk like that? Because I still have it. Like they expect Filipinos to talk like that. But
Yeah.
So everybody thinks I grew up here. So when I talk to someone, how long you've been here? Like, I went to this community of all Americans, and I tell them I've only been here for 5 years. I'm still, getting. I mean, I still don't know a lot about the American culture, right? We still learn. Like what I've learned here in Texas when I when I travel to Pennsylvania, they're like, you're so southern, like you have the southern twang, like you know what I mean, like because that's what I got accustomed to. I didn't realize it's different in East Coast, right?
It
Something
is.
like that. But if I tell them I've only been here for 5 years, they're like, it's like you sound like you grew up here, like you literally grew up here. But that's because I assimilated and I've become assertive with integrating myself into the community. Don't be afraid to like feel like you can talk to them because
Yeah.
you have the accent. This is the United States. Everybody has a form of accent, right? So speak up, present yourself in such a way
Yeah.
where you know your strengths, you know your limitations as
Yeah.
well. And very important to create that community both professionally and personally. Like what Arnold said, I was also thankful to my Filipino
Yeah.
community in Edinburgh, Texas. They helped me out when I was new. I remember,
Yeah.
and I didn't share this story to a lot of people, but um, the first time I had a panic attack was here in the United States, and I've never had this before. In fact, my mom couldn't believe it at the beginning. She was like, "No, you're just sad." I was like, "Mom, it's called depression. It's called panic attack. It's a disease." Like they saw me walking around the street. I was pacing because my heart was racing and I couldn't explain what was going on. There was like a feeling of doom.
Yeah.
And then they walked with me, the Filipino community, because it's a small Filipino community, and I almost passed out on the grass. I thought I was having a heart attack. Everything was negative. It was a panic attack. So I was just anxious, because moving into a new country, it was overly stimulating, right? Like you have so much like, oh my god, I'm in school. Oh my god, I'm working. Oh my god, I'm working again, and I'm in school. Something like that. But the Filipino community are the people who actually helped me and also my coworkers. So very important to form that community. I lived with a Filipino family for 3 years. I never left. Supposedly it was a temporary room that I was renting until I could find an apartment because it was much cheaper that way and somebody will be there if something were to happen. But I didn't leave. I stayed there till the end of my contract because I just felt, really, really comfortable with someone there. Like I call them my tatay and nanay, my mom and dad here in the States, tatay Andy and nanay Aida. So they helped me, adjust to the thing. I remember I got into a car accident and I have to call Tatay Andy. Like it was a minor accident, but I got hit my quarter panel. So I was like, Tatay Andy, what do I do during a car accident? Do I call 911 or do I call my insurance? Because I don't know what to do, right? This is the US, like so many things, so overwhelmingly overstimulating at one point. But be very assertive. Remember, you're in a new country, so just integrate yourself in the community, and that's gonna make you feel comfortable. And some people don't really adapt well
Mhm.
because probably they were not as assertive as they should be. But thank you for sharing those lessons. Do you guys have anything more to add?
Okay.
In addition to what you said, like, be assertive. I came here in the United States like 21, 22, and I was the least assertive. I would just take everything what they say.
Right.
Sometimes it gets to a point like I feel offended already, that and I just keep it to myself. It was really not helpful. And so one thing that I really did actually went into an assertiveness class. I
Oh
had to put,
wow.
I did. I went to assertiveness course and a class, and just to be able to learn how to express myself, because it gets
Right.
into your heart. You can't just keep it to yourself. You have to let it go.
Right. True.
So, and after that, I also kept in my mind, in a relation to being assertive, is never assume things. Here in the United States, never ever assume. If
Right.
you have questions, you always have to confirm that, because our culture is very different than, the culture in Boston, the culture in Texas, the culture in New York City. Like New York City is like, you go to this cities, metropolis, it's like a melting pot of every culture, so you will see different people with different culture. And number one problem why we always have this incivility in the hospitals is because of miscommunication.
Mhm.
True.
you know because we might say something that they perceive it differently because of that culture. So being assertive and, do not assume things that she said that, it means negative. So sometimes you just have to say or do a confirmatory question, do you
Right,
mean this way?
right,
Because miscommunication is so so much in the
right,
hospital, and then people create a chaos on it because you
right.
just did not understand what they said. So again, do not assume, be assertive to ask, and confirm what did they say, to avoid that conflict.
Right.
Yeah. Can I
Doctor.
just can I just call out? Okay, that was amazing. It excites me to hear that you're a person who really seeks learning opportunities, like
Mhm.
like going to an assertiveness course, doing mixology at Harvard. I think that's one that I would actually recommend. And for everyone who are new here in the US or who are planning to come to the US, you have to look for learning opportunities. There are a lot of learning opportunities here. And you can access whether in person, virtual, online, or something like that. And it's definitely helpful. I think that's one thing here. Aside from opportunities to grow, like as part of the opportunity to grow anyway, you can keep learning here. And whatever you learn, it will help you thrive here in the US.
Right. And yes, clarification is very important, guys. You have to consider US is melting pot.
Mhm.
When somebody's like using their big voice, they might not be screaming. That's probably just their normal. That's the truth.
Exactly.
Because sometimes one time there's a doctor from he grew up in Southern America, so he was using his big voice in the ER. But then I realized on the second day, oh, that's just his normal tone. Because when I was talking to him, or we were talking about something that we both connected to, it was stocks, of course, because me, Kay, I talk about stocks
Yeah.
all the time. I realized that's just how he is when he's excited, when adrenaline is rushing. And I told him, honestly, yesterday I thought you were screaming at me. And it's like, oh no, that's just my normal tone when
Yeah,
I'm at work.
exactly.
This is ER, Hey, can you do this? Can you give the Zofran, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, so clarification is very important. Because in the Philippines you have tonality, right? Like
Mhm.
when you're calm and sweet, oh, I like this person. But when you're like, no, get that, it means that the person doesn't like you or something. But here it's different cultures coming in together to US. So sometimes it becomes blur, like if it's this or that. So clarify, very important to clarify. People here are very open with that. And if it's not
Yeah.
open, then maybe some other people can help you with that, but navigate yourself around different cultures as well, right? And I've had a lot of friends from different cultures, and I love it because when we're all out together, it's just so fun to like bring in, in our country. Oh, in our
Yeah.
country, this is a whole. It's just so fun, like when we talk about those things. But yes, so much learning for today. But guys, my next question is, what are the steps you did? I mean, you guys talked about this already. What are the steps you did to help you get your dream job, the jobs that you have right now, Doctor A?
Steps. So when I came to the US, so just a little background, I was working as a nurse educator in the Middle East before I moved in here. But I know that, as a stepping stone, most of the time you will usually start as a bedside nurse here in the US. There might be other opportunities, that you can start in your own field of specialization, but that is how I entered US anyway. Um, I know that I will not survive the bedside because I haven't really worked at the bedside for the longest time. And that was so true. So when I first worked at the bedside, I was literally crying every night because it was tough. And my background was in ICU, so I'm used to 1:1 to 1:2 patients. So when
Right.
I moved in here, because I was working in a post-acute rehab, like I have 1:7, and I had a hard time managing my time. And I love to talk to patients. So like when you talk to patients and you have 7 patients to do your med pass, do your care. So I was like, oh my
Right.
god,
Right.
I usually go home like late, like 2-3 hours late. So yeah, I struggled. So what I did was I actively sought out opportunities. I updated my LinkedIn, I have updated my Indeed, submitted all the applications that I can, and I really looked for an opportunity to teach. And even in my first 2-3 months, even if it's a very far area, I usually get an Uber because I didn't have a car back then. um I usually take an Uber, go there for an interview, and there were a lot of no's. I because again, I think I'm new, and then they know that even if I was an educator, my background was very different. But I never stopped. Like I kept searching for opportunities up until I got an interview with one of the schools here, one of the universities here in Boston, and I didn't realize that I would get I will get the job offer. So they offered me the assistant professor role, and I was like, oh, I was so grateful because um, sometimes I think because I had a lot of negative experiences in the Middle East, like I've realized that like as long as you don't give up, as long as you keep searching for opportunities, then you will eventually find it. And I always keep as my mantra now that if a door is closed, or like if there is a rejection, that is actually a redirection to the next best destination. So so now I don't easily give up. So like I keep searching for opportunities. And I think once you know as well what your passion is, like for me, my passion is really in education. I think things will just fall into place. So like in December, I was not actively looking for a job, but then I was referred to a LinkedIn connection to another LinkedIn connection. So that's why I would really encourage everyone to be active in LinkedIn to showcase what you can do as a professional, because this connection led to the current role that I'm doing now, and it's still related to education. And the one thing that I really like about this one is with my current role, I'm building an international transition to practice program, helping Filipinos and other IENs moving to the United States to provide them with that transition to practice program so that they will be successful when they migrate. So, continuously seek out opportunities, make sure that you don't give up. Again, in the US, there are a lot of opportunities, but then not everything might be well suited for you. But if you have that mindset that at one point you will find what is best for you, you will eventually find it.
Right. Don't stop. There's a lot of opportunities, plenty of opportunities here. Miss K.
Yeah, I love the story, Arnold. When you get here, I think I've heard that kind of story with a lot of our excelling professionals outside the US when they get here and they are positioned in this kind of facilities that they don't find themselves suitable, or their experiences are beyond, just have, you know, j- correct, accept it that you have room to grow and find that opportunity. It's very good. Actually, I'm new in LinkedIn, Arnold. I'm new there. I just
You're making waves, okay? You're making waves in LinkedIn
I
because
am just like what I just joined LinkedIn. I just joined Lefora too last year, right? So yeah, so when I was doing my travel nursing, I actually was minding my own business, because when I started my goal, I'm a person of a goal setting.
Mhm.
I always believe that every time you start something, always have a goal in mind. What's your end? Like I think you put that, I think, or Paul did something like, what are the whys, why in doing this, or I can't remember, but I saw an article like that, or a post in LinkedIn or Facebook. So you always ask yourself why. And I'm the kid who's always curious, why am I doing this? What's the end of this? What's the purpose? So when I was young, I was 20s, I really had a dream of building my own orphanage and school.
Oh, wow.
And my passion is teaching. You have to really know what you love, like
Mhm.
Arnold said, is what's your passion? My passion is teaching and public service. I do a lot of medical mission back in the Philippines when I was still there. I was voluntary as a nurse in those clinics, in the church clinics. So that was my passion. My passion is to help and to teach. When I got here in the United States, I really want to go and pursue my master's in education to be able to teach. But then there I realized that I was limited with my knowledge in teaching and healthcare system in the United States. So what I did was I lined up all the different healthcare setup in the United States. You can see there your ambulatory services, your long-term care, your skilled nursing facility, academic teaching hospital, nonprofit, private. So I lined them all up, and I put there, the states that were close to me, Northeast Coast. So I lined up different hospital and I targeted them. And I used travel nursing to be able to reach to that hospital in a shorter time frame to be able to learn. So every 3 months I will not I will not renew, and then I will just go to the next one, and I'll go to the next one and to the next one. So what I did there was a strategic way how to learn the different healthcare system. in a short time, because my goal was to teach. For me to be able to become an effective educator or teacher is, of course, I have to know or master the topic that I'm teaching. Because if you put passion and invest in yourself, I think you'll be able to bring and deliver the best of yourself, of your skills and capability. So I challenged myself to land in those kind of facilities. But again, I lined it up, ahead of time. And this is my 2-year goal, and this will be my 20-year goal. So I have OCD, so I always like to plan. And I don't do plan A, plan B. I do plan A, B, C, D, E, and F. Because as I said, I never give up. So that's one thing about me is I will never give up until I tell myself I have done my best. Um, so that was my strategy. And eventually, after 1 year, I was able to land prestigious hospitals in the Northeast Coast and was able to develop a good sense and feel of how healthcare system in the United States. So that was my goal, and that's how I really targeted to be in the place of my dream job. And my dream job is to become a teacher, to mentor. Now I think I am able to deliver that, not just in academia, but in real life. Because I think my dream job is to make an impact and teach and educate and empower people to, empower people to gear their career and their life on the way that they wanted, through education. Because when you empower somebody to reach their goals, I think that's an effective teacher.
There
I
you go. I love those stories. Thank you for sharing your stories, Arnold and Kay. Very important that
Yeah.
you have goals. Those are key takeaways for today. Because I mean, for me, it's also important for me to have a goal. Because we're all educators. Yeah, we have to have some form of evaluation, and
Yeah.
evaluation you have to, like, there's an objective, clear objective, right? This is what
Yeah.
we're taught in the education school. So clear objective, kind of like that, and then evaluation. Without the clear objective, there's nothing to evaluate for. Just like in nursing, if you didn't do your assessments, when you evaluate, you're not going to be able to compare
Yeah.
it with something. So just like in Arnold, I wrote my goals too, and sometimes along the way there are hurdles that you were
Yeah.
not prepared for, right? That's why there's
Yeah.
plan B's and C's, but the goal is the same, right? The goal is
Yes.
like the big thing that, hey, in the next 5 to 10 years I'm gonna get there. So you're still clear with the track that
Yeah.
you're heading to. But it's okay, guys, if you feel like you're in this stage of your career where I'm still, my goals are
Yeah.
still not clear to me. We all went
Yeah.
through that stage.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
maturity and even professional growth or peaking in your career is
Yeah.
not associated or correlated with age. You can peak at 60, at 40, at 20. It doesn't matter. So find your own personal journey,
Yeah.
personal trajectory, and you're gonna get there. Very important that you have that goal, because
Mhm.
that's what's gonna define your track, your journey of how to get there, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
If we can just
Definitely.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on both of your mention about the goals, I also love writing my goals, and one thing that I love the power of visualization and the power of
Mhm.
manifestation.
So
What I
true.
do with my goals, like Kay, is I also have my short term goals and then my long term goals. I literally write them because it's like giving power to your thoughts. Like it's very different when
Mm.
it's just
Yeah.
an abstract thought. Um, so once I've written my goals, I put them near the mirror because we always go to the mirror, right? Are you
Right. In the morning.
put it somewhere that is like very strategic that you tend to see it like very often because I think when you live your life, there can be a lot of distractions and you might get sidetracked in achieving your goals. But if you always
Yeah.
see your goals, you will always be reminded that okay, this is what I want to achieve. So your subconscious mind will actually tell you that oh, you're drifting away from your goals, so you have to
Yeah.
go back. And as what Paul said, we have to be clear with your goals. I know nurses. I would presume that a lot of our viewers right now are nurses. Always remember that you have to have your SMART goals, your specific,
Mhm.
measurable, realistic,
Time
time
bound.
bound
Time bound. Yeah.
goals. Yeah. So yeah,
Yep. So, yep. And that's very important for you to land your dream job, and sometimes that dream job can also be an avenue for you to have an even bigger dream job, and it
Yeah.
goes further from there. And then finally you suddenly see yourself as an expert in one industry just because you've grown so much in that industry. And you won't
True.
really like find that until you've tried many different things. And Kay and Arnold and my journey and so many other people that we've invited in the show thus far. Um, those goals didn't come out overnight, right? I wrote my goals after college when I was
Yeah.
20. Some of them have become a reality already, but some of them are not because I have to adjust, and that's not a product of overnight work. That's a product of many, many years of experience and redirections and sitting down again and saying, am I on the right track? Or
Yeah.
is there something budding in me that says, you know, I think you can do better this way,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something like that. But like
Yeah.
like with me, I know when I came here to the US, I know I wanted a doctorate degree, right? Because I finished my
Yeah.
master's in the Philippines. I was about to hop on an PhD school, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till I get to the US, because I want an exposure to the Western formal education in that sense. And I know they're not gonna let you do a double PhD in same field. So if I would have to do a PhD in the Philippines, I would have to do a PhD in a different field here, but I want nursing. So I waited. And then finally, when I got here, I was like, okay, I'm ready for PhD school. I was already starting to think of my dissertation titles, or because
Oh,
they're
wow.
going to ask you that in the first semester, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, our master's degree in the Philippines is research oriented. So that's what they told me at the beginning. Why do you know a lot about research? Because my master's degree is research oriented. That's how it is
Yeah.
in the Philippines. Here in the States, the MSN is not research oriented; it's practice oriented. So anyway, cut it short. I chose between PhD and DNP, but I loved ER nursing and I loved the evolution of nursing practice. And you know what? I said we already have a lot of scholars. They're much more smarter than me. Arnold can write more journals than while
Yeah.
I love writing like personal anecdotes. The research jargon is like
Yeah.
blows
I'll write.
my mind. Like I'm like, whew, so much research jargon. Um,
Yeah. I'll do the meme part. You guys do the publishing. I'll do the meme. It's
there you go.
easier.
There you go. There you go. So I was like, but I suddenly researched and found out that there's DNPs. So I was like, let me see what DNPs do, like what it is about. So I feel like I have more ability to contribute in the practice side
Mhm.
than in the scholarly side, but still, both of us can work together to create a better healthcare, better
Yeah.
nursing. And in the DNP school, we were drilled to become a leader, to become an expert of your own right. Like you have to have a niche where you
Yeah.
talk about this thing. So I kept thinking about it for 4 years in doctorate school. What am I going to talk about? Like what? But then again, I suddenly realized I've been doing this for years. I've always been
Yeah.
advocating for nurses, for fair pay, even back in the Philippines, for fair ratios and safe nursing. Because as ER, I was talking to Kay yesterday, we've been exposed to so much. Like I've seen my coworker being punched. She's a little lady inside triage room.
Yeah.
So that's traumatizing in a way that anyone could hurt me as well, or any one of us. But I felt like I didn't need to find my voice. I already had it. I just need to expand it. So that's where, after doctorate and doing a little self-reflection in a why, for the first time after I graduated doctorate school, it's the first time I've asked myself after graduating in college for 16 years, what's next? Because I always had the
Yeah.
next thing planned before this thing is over and over. So everybody was asking me in graduation, what's next? Because,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, Paul, he already has everything planned. My friends are like, whew, you already have everything planned. And then suddenly I started asking myself, too, what's next after doctorate school? I was like, did I peak again? Like, and then I went to a why, did a little soul searching, personal reflection. What's next for me? But my therapist said, take this time to think about it. Your life has been so fast moving in 16
Mhm.
years. You didn't have time to appreciate and give credits to your journey so far. So focus on yourself. I went to Y, did a lot of hikes, Um, did a lot of fun stuff. Went to the volcano,
Wow.
skydived in Hawaii. Went to this hike for 6 hours that I've never done before. Who knew I could hike for 6 hours?
I'll be dead. Like I'll be
I
dead
grew up
first.
in the Philippines. I hiked for an hour, but 6 hours, wow. But um, I've reached certain milestones on my physical end and emotional stability to this point that I was ready to go back. So I came back to Houston and I'm back in my game. I'm kind of like that. Okay, now let's build on Dr. Nurse Paul as a brand, as an advocate, as a social media person who will use his voice, his story, his platform to inspire more people around the world. And that's the birth of the Dr. Nurse Paul show. It's actually born out of Hawaii, because I felt like whenever I'm like where am I at this point? I go back to nature because I felt like nature's energy is so refreshing. I need to see water or the greens of the forest, and it just gives me this fresh vibes. Like nature always grows and evolves. That's how life should be as well. So like always redefining yourself, but also still keeping track of your goals. But thank you for sharing your story, Arnold. And okay, and we're gonna wrap up the raffle in a bit. I'm enjoying this show. By the way, we only do 1 hour, but we've been here for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
So
no,
I hope I'm not taking too much of your time, guys.
Yeah. So,
no, I'm
yeah.
fine.
No, definitely. I'd like to add one more
Yes,
thing.
yes.
And not a lot of people actually know this. And during the after pandemic, so I've been suffering for my autoimmune disease.
Oh
So there was
no.
a part in my life. I thought it was just, a simple step, and then it was, hurting my foot in years already. And they said the only way to do this case is surgery. You need surgery. I could not walk.
Oh no.
And I'm an operating room nurse, and that's how you feel like, this is your asset. This is what you've been doing for your entire life, and that you're an athlete too, and then you cannot walk. So literally at the age of 27, 28, I was looking for crutches and wheelchair already.
Oh
So
no.
so then like you did, I stepped back. I this should not stop me from doing my goals.
All right.
My goal is to become educator. This is a part of your life where step back like Paul did, and like Arnold did. Step back, reassess your life,
All right.
and those challenges actually gonna bring you the best motivation to move forward
Right. Right.
and learn. So then I said, okay, I accepted my limitation right now. I'm not be able to walk. And I said to the doctor, to the surgeon, give me one last shot, please. Because he
Right.
said, no more shot for you, Kaye. The surgery is what you need. I was really, really, literally limping in the operating room. Big hospital saw me limping.
Mhm.
And I said, can I go to work on crutches in the OR?
Right. Right.
Right? And I'm from the OR, but I'm scared of surgery. So literally, I was already on the shopping mode of a wheelchair.
Oh no.
So at 12, yeah, so that kind of turned my world upside down. I said, even with disabilities, even with challenges in life, find find the thing, keep your passion burning
Right.
and motivate yourself. There's so many ways to learn different things to reach that goal right now. Never ever let your challenges, never ever let your disabilities or your health, situation stop you from achieving your goals. America is here, so many opportunities you can do to reach that goal, and there's so many support system.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for sharing that story, Kay. Arnold?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm amazed, Kay, with how you
yeah,
have, you know,
yeah,
your resilience to
Right.
yeah.
actually get back up. That, oh wow, that's a health scare. Like, I would be scared, like totally scared. But yeah, I think to your point, and I think I'm gonna share
Yeah.
a very vulnerable story that I'm open as I've opened this story up anyways. So, and this is not in the US. This was when I was in the Middle East. As I told you, there's this challenge of being non-Western trained. So at one point in my career in the Middle East, I was actually I went into a charge nurse position, but then there was a reshuffling. I ended up getting demoted back to a staff nurse because again, I was not Western trained. And I also went into some sort of depression
Mhm.
um, for almost a year because like when you work so hard in reaching your goals, but then suddenly just because there were some limitations, you were not Western trained and all. Um, it was so painful for me, because I really invested a lot of my time, my effort, and my energy,
Yeah.
to get that role. um
Yeah.
but then that was also a very a turning point in my life. And I think, like you, Paul, Kay, when you have that challenging moment in your life, you sort of have like a step back moment wherein you
Right.
try to reassess everything, try to
Mhm.
rest what is really your why. And that was the time that I realized that leadership is not my pathway in nursing. My
Mhm.
pathway is in education. So when I started pivoting towards education, everything's just started falling in place.
Right.
And I think this is when life, teaches you a lesson that yes, sometimes you might be peaking and peaking and peaking, and then suddenly it stops and you start falling down like
Yeah. Yeah.
spiral fall. Yeah, and but then actually you are being set up to your next success. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm
Yeah.
very successful now, but I'm definitely living the life that I would want to live because I'm doing what I love,
Yeah.
and how amazing is that you get to do what you do and you get paid for it. So yeah, I think having that downtime, for those, so I'm also looking at the comments, Dr. Nurse Paul, and I saw
Mhm.
Maui, who mentioned that, sometimes he or she is like feeling, sometimes he or she feels like giving up. um yes, there are those times in our career. And I think what I would suggest, Maui, is for you to actually step back and reassess your why. And if any of you are familiar with the term ikigai, I know that we are about to wrap up,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I want you to explore ikigai. It's like four circles with four questions that ask what do you love, what does the world need, what are you good at, and what can you get paid for. If you will be able to answer and correlate all of those four questions, you would have found your life's purpose or your ikigai. So yeah, I think, yeah, if you struggle, try to step back, like what we have all done, and reassess your priorities.
Right. And that's what's good with us nurses because it's been inculcated with us to follow the nursing plan. And I think nursing plan is such a good model for everything. I use it for teaching my students in NCLEX when we're figuring out their weaknesses and strengths, but also I use it in my life. Like, when
Yeah.
something's not going well, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies, like I always say, right? The journey, uphill journey, you would always find cracks along the way or another rock to climb, or maybe a stumbling block along the way that you have to redirect and take a long time to get back on track. The uphill climb is not easy, but
Yeah.
it's going to get you there depending on your passion and determination. But what's important is to always reassess the situation. That's called
Yeah.
evaluation, and then figuring out from there. I would always remember my sixth grade teacher would always say, step back and look at the big picture because you're looking at a very specific point in the big picture. Because we went on a field trip in the Philippines. There's this big, we call it this polarium,
Mm.
right? It's a
Yeah.
big painting, and she would say, look at that guy, what is it doing? The guy in the background, it's not even the main guy in the picture because it's like a revolution kind of thing, right? Oh, we're defining what the guy looks like based on the emotions painted on the face. But then she'd be like, okay, step back. Okay, everybody step back. Now, what do you see in the whole picture with that guy in the background? You know what I mean? Now it's evoking another form of emotion, but it's actually what the meaning of the big picture is. So it's it's such a cliche quote, but honestly, it is very important to step back and look, because sometimes you would actually realize, hold on, I'm actually on track with my goal. I'm actually headed
Mm.
there. But I'm so obsessed with this fine detail that's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like, I don't know, this job is not making me happy. And you're so obsessed with that and it ruined everything for you. But step back and take that moment. That's why it's very important to have downtime as well. Sometimes nurses live a very fast paced life because,
Mhm.
we give so much energy at work and then we're depleted with our personal lives. We couldn't give more time to our families or to ourselves. But step back, take that downtime. I remember doing this in Lefora the other day, right? Somebody said, I found this in one group where it says, let's do a Friday brag, like small wins, big wins, put it in here in this thread. So I started it, and there was one person that said, I finally had a week of vacation leave. So my comment was, take that vacation leave to recharge and focus on personal care, because that's all the thing that I could say for nurses. That's what I neglected for many years because I'm so obsessed with career growth or this and that fast moving world, that when I finally had a downtime, I realized um, I'm actually like 10 years ahead of my goals. But why am I rushing so much? I'm 36 and I've never enjoyed my 20 when I was 25 and 24, when everybody's like traveling everywhere, hiking mountains, and now I'm enjoying hiking for 6 hours that I could have done when I was 22. Probably much easier without ibuprofen, right? Something like, of course, after that I was beat. Okay, I have to take my Flexeril because all my muscles are like, okay, you hiked 6 hours, you're 36, you're not young. But it's fine. So don't be afraid to go through that phase, guys. Those we are humans. We're capable of having both positive and negative emotions. That's part of life. But acknowledging that it's not always going to be positive, but there are going to be times where you might be questioning yourself. And me and
Yeah.
Arnold and Kay probably have lived through it, but imposter syndrome, when you're put in that spot,
Yeah.
when you're suddenly, my teacher said, okay, you're a nurse leader. What are you going to talk about? I was like, am I an expert of something? Because they would always tell us, you're an expert. You're a
Yeah.
DNP student. You're going to be a doctor sometimes, something in the future. So you're an expert. You're going to talk like an expert. But I'm like, what am I expert with? Like, hold on, am I expert of something? Something like that. Imposter syndrome. Like, am I really fit for this position, or did I really deserve it? Did I really earn it? But you did,
Mhm.
right? Like, you're not gonna be there if you didn't. And if for some reason that position or that exposure didn't work out for you, maybe because there is something else that is prepared for you, like Arnold said. So don't be scared to go through those phases, right?
Agree, 100%. Yes, everything you said on point.
Right. And Mark said, is
Yeah.
this the right spelling? Is that
So it's
Ikigai?
Ikigai.
Can you charge us?
All right. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap up. What are your tips for aspiring nurses? Last messages, inspirational words for our aspiring nurses, or already nurses that are already here in the US, about their dream job, about the American dream. What are you guys tips?
Ladies first.
All right.
Yeah.
So as I said, know your passion. There's three things in your life that you really have to pay attention to when you get here. Your career goals, your financial goals, and your personal goals in life. There's people will value things differently. You're the only one who's on that marathon. you know Other people, you see, they have different priorities in life. So you, as a person here, you have to set your priorities in life. It can be your personal goal, financial goal, or career goal. And this three thing that I always say to people, you can change it every now and then. This is the
Right.
same principle that a lot of medical doctors do, is um, they are willing to sacrifice their financial goal and their personal goals in life initially, but they're putting and investing on their career goals. And then later on, that triangle will turn around because it's called deferred gratification. When you get into the United States, it's the same thing. You might not be able to be the best paid person right away when you got here, but then your priority is your personal goal to come here and achieve your American dream. So
Right.
that is totally fine as long as you know how to balance and turn that triangle, your personal, financial, and your career goals interchangeably. That's good, because that will definitely change in the span of your lifetime here in the United States. All you have to do is, are you willing to sacrifice your financial goal in relation to, in exchange for your personal and career growth, or are you willing to sacrifice your career growth in exchange for financial and personal growth for the meantime? And these are the people who are actually have kids, that are their personal and priority goals are sending their kids in good schools.
Right.
That is fine too. Do not compare yourself with other people who are doing different things in their life, because they have different values and different goals in their life.
That's
And that is totally fine. But as long as you yourself know what your goals in life is, that's the most important thing. Your American goal, American dream, sorry, your American dream is always possible here. And America is a land of opportunity only if you grab those opportunities. You
Right.
have to be proactive and you have to invest in yourself, educate yourself well to be able to understand what, the options that you have to reach those American dream.
Right. Wow. Very powerful message. I
Yeah.
love it. And I like
Yeah.
to view it as a triangle approach too. Thank you, Kay, for saying
Yeah.
that. And flexibility is very important as you grow in
Mhm.
your careers, personal lives, and financial growth. Very important to always be flexible, but it's still
Yeah.
the same goal. It's still the same
Yes.
triangle, right? We're just moving it around, right?
Yes, exactly. Every single part of your life, like Arnold did, and you, Dr. Nurse Paul, you went through the hardship of the doctorate program, correct? The
Right.
PhDs, and you sacrifice your personal, goals in life to your
Right.
social life. You sacrificed, but make sure that you're sacrificing to achieve something. Don't
Right.
sacrifice for nothing because that's a lose-lose situation.
Right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something about the doctorate school very, very quickly, and people didn't know this. Right in the middle of doctorate school here in the States, I was like, if I have taken this in the Philippines, I would have done a long time ago. So much easier. I'm not going to be stressed like this because it was very stressful. It's all writing papers. And my writing professor, I love her. She's one of the PhDs that I admire. But oh my God, English is not my first language, so I always get deductions for tenses or something. I would use Grammarly, but for whatever reason, Grammarly is still not perfect.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm
But
poor in English. I
it
can
was,
tell.
in short, I'd say it in a very I don't. It's not that negative, but it was brutal. Okay, so it was brutal. That's why after doctorate school, after 4 years of it's full time. I have summer classes and this and that. So all year round, I would have probably a week or two break in between. But finally, I got off the hook when I graduated. I'm like, whew, I'm ready to skydive in Hawaii. Please take me away from mainland US. Like it was fun, but nonetheless, it's a lot of effort. But hey, it was a very memorable experience for me because it humbled me as well. Because sometimes you feel like I'm already good at this. Why do I have to prove myself to you? I went to the educator course and I'm like, I've been a teacher for 10 years, 15 years. And they're like, okay, do a demo teaching, right? And I did a demo teaching in TCN. And the city was like, oh my God, he's so good. Like, it's been teaching for years because I actually am teaching for years. Like, they're like, oh my God, he's so good. He's not looking at his slides. Like, I have 50 feedbacks. All of them are like, oh my God, you want him to be your teacher? It's so good. Like, it's not a new teacher. I was like, because I'm not, you know what I mean? But like I told Kay, you still have to be validated by formal education to say that you
Yeah.
are something like that.
Yes.
But it was nonetheless after doctorate school. Everybody's asking, what's next? Next for me is to step back and enjoy this moment and
Yeah.
just enjoy the success of my professional growth, but also switch that triangle up to personal growth again because the personal has been neglected for a bit. It
Mhm.
was
Yes.
brutal, but nonetheless very memorable. But yep, thank you, Kay, for sharing that triangle story. Um, Arnold.
Yeah, no, I love Kay's triangle story, and I'm definitely gonna adapt that. I think I'm gonna piggyback on sorry, what Kay has mentioned in knowing your goals. I think my call to action for all of us who are here is to reflect on your why and what you are passionate about, and make sure that those are aligned with your goals. Because you can have a lot of goals, but if it's not what you love doing, it will be a waste of energy and effort. I think it's a matter of narrowing your focus, because if you know that this is what I'm passionate about, everything when you're writing your goal will be aligned. All the things that you will be doing will be aligned. So you will you will not even feel like you're working so hard, because you will enjoy the process of achieving what your goals are, because that is your passion. Another thing that I would also like to emphasize is that I am a professional development advocate, and I would really encourage everyone to continuously grow yourself in whatever aspects. There are a lot of opportunities to grow, learning from people's stories, learning formally, informally, learning through this platform. Actually, this is a way for us to grow. But then focus your growth not because you are competing with other people, because as what Kay said, we have different journeys, right? My goal is to develop myself, not because I want to prove that I'm better than anyone else. No, my goal is to become a better version of my old self. And I hope that we have that focus, because again, you know, in life, it's always good to be able to give back and be able to share what you have. So if you're able to develop yourself, you can better give to others as well.
Thank you, Arnold.
Yeah,
Such a powerful
definitely.
message. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
And that's very important. When you've reached that part where you've learned so much, you're now ready to share those learnings and that. But guys, I want to end with this thing that I want to summarize everything that we said today. American Dream is for those people who believe in it and is ready to work for it. But there's a lot of opportunities here. But American Dream is real. You see Arnold here, you see Kaye here, you see me, you see everybody that I've brought into this show in the last 9 months. But it is very real. We are the real life testimony to it. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. A. Thank you, Travel Nurse Hacker. Thank you for all you
Thank
do in
you.
social media, guys. You got to follow these people. So much learning from these guys. They're more active in social media than me.
Now you are more active than us.
Dr. A
I'm not
is
sure about that.
Dr. A is a superstar in LinkedIn. And it's funny because I only opened my LinkedIn to follow Kay. It was a doctorate school requirement.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much connections there are in the
Yeah.
professional world. So now I'm like, okay, with the triangle, Facebook is now the personal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
LinkedIn is now the professional. Because I used to have
Exactly.
Facebook all these time and didn't realize how much information there is in LinkedIn. But
Okay.
thank you, Arnold. Follow Travel Nurse Hacker too. So much learning, so much nursing advocacy in there. Both of these guys, they're nurse leader in their own right, and they're already. This is what I love about our community. So many people that are just willing to share and give back to the community. So whatever you guys learned from us today, I hope you pay it forward. I hope eventually in the future you will use your story, your success story, for someone else who might need that level of motivation. Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice and wonderful long weekend here in the
Uh,
United States.
Thank you. And I think we're ready to announce our winners. We have our two winners for our raffle for today. We already drawn it in the background using comment picker. And our winners for today are, let me see. I'm waiting for my moderators. Winners are Trina, Pineda, and Lay Ross. Congratulations for winning a full NCLEX course from Aspire RN. Please message me on my Facebook page, Dr. Nurse Paul, and my team will give you instruction of how to claim your prize. And of course, this Wednesday, we're going to have another virtual job fair. This is the last virtual job fair for the Nurses Month. And we're going to be hosting Advanced USRN in our final virtual job fair for the month of May. This is going to be May 31st, Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time. And we have another show next Saturday, of course. Dr. Nurse Paul show is back. The Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX is back. We had to suspend it for the whole May so we can focus on the Nurses Month. But the Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX is back on June 3. That is a Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to do another case study. I'm going to dissect that for you. We're going to give you tips of how to answer those case studies for the next generation NCLEX. And that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. A. Thank you, Travel Nurse Hacker, for all the stories that you've shared today. So much learning. I've really enjoyed hosting this show. We usually do an hour, but today we did about an hour, 40 minutes. This is a very good show, guys. I hope you will be able to share this to your friends, tag your friends here. This is recorded and they can watch it later. Thank you guys for joining us today. I hope to see you in future Dr. Nurse Paul shows. See you guys. Have a great
You have just watched the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Watch us live every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central U.S. Time. For more info about our future events, follow us on our social media channels. You can find us at Dr. Nurse Paul on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next week.